Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The whole Natasha Cloud situation is just weird. And honestly, when it comes to Sue Bird, I'm like, she's now starting to say things where I'm like, oh God, I cannot believe you have just come out with this statement. I cannot believe you have just said this. And this is another one of those situations for Sue Bird. She's done it a few times, but let's take a listen to what she said about Natasha Cloud. So if you guys don't know who Natasha Cloud is, Natasha Cloud is a very, very outspoken WNBA player. Outspoken about everything, about everyone. She has accused WNBA owners of hiding funds from players. She has told the owners that the players are fine. They don't need the WNBA because they have Unrivaled. She refused to play in Connecticut. She basically said she was playing New York or nowhere. She's burned bridges with Phoenix Mercury and the Washington Mystics and the Seattle Storm and the Connecticut Sun. She has turned down multiple contracts, as far as I've heard, from for in and around the region of $500K a year, because she feels like she is a $1 million player, despite the advanced analytics saying that she was in fact the worst player on the Liberty last year and was a major reason for the Liberty losing. Again, I think she's somewhere in between. I think she's a solid player. I think she's an absolutely S tier backup point guard, a bang average starting point guard. And yeah, she's not in the league because she overvalued herself. She fired 2 agents, or she definitely fired 1 agent. I read somewhere she fired 2. I don't know how true that is. She fired her agent. And every time word comes out from teams being like, well, look, we offered her money. She comes out and says, these numbers were not guaranteed, and it's basically, I'm not speaking, but, I will. I'm talking on it and it'll all come out. But I'm like, every time a news post comes out about her, she starts basically coming out being like, saying some cryptic thing. And in the end now it's, oh, I know my worth. So basically, yeah, it was about the money. She's not being blackballed. She just didn't get paid what she wanted, and she threw her toys out of the pram. Realistically, she is not playing instead of taking a low ball offer, because if somebody gets hurt early, like, let's just say a $1.2 million player tears their ACL in training camp, that $1.2 million off the salary cap, so they can give $1.2 million to Cloud if she wants it. She's kind of holding out for that. And yeah, not only that, there were rumblings of her being blackballed, and owners have come out and basically said, nope, that is not the case. And yeah, she just keeps posting cryptic stuff. It reminds me a little bit of Dewana Bonner last year when she quit in the Fever. She basically just like, oh, this isn't what happened. This isn't what happened. It's like, everyone knew it was what happened. Everyone knew she just quit on the team. Whatever her reasons were, the outcome of her quitting on the team was a fact. But anyway, let's listen to Sue Bird about this. That's just a rundown of the situation.
Don't want to live in a world where Natasha Cloud is being punished for being outspoken. It is not what our league has been built on. In fact, being outspoken is part of the fabric of our league. It's what connects us to our fan base. Actually, Tosh is a great example of that. We've actually changed the world. I'm not even joking. Yes, we've changed things for our league, but I think that has trickled into the actual society that we live in.
I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, to be honest, on a small scale, sure. But like, in terms of general society, there is not one thing that has affected general society based on the WNBA. Maybe in 10, 15 years' time, for a couple of hundred basketball players, it might change things. But to be honest, like, if you consider sports growing and growing the entertainment business is changing the world, then maybe you make an argument. But all the other stuff, other than getting an Atlanta Dream owner, forcing him to sell the team, only to 6 years later have Tillman Fertitta steal the team from Connecticut, undoing all of that stuff, I don't think it's changed really anything.
And it's what has gotten us to where we are today. So for me, that would be the antithesis of the WNBA's identity for Tosh to be, blackballed in this way. And the other part of it is I don't think we'll know Natasha's experience until she tells us. She posted on Threads, "I have yet to speak. That's intentional and my power. I've just worked. No sulking, no whining. Work. And I will continue to work as I always have, proving myself right year after year after year, 11 to be exact. I know who I am. I know my value and worth, and ain't nothing traditional."
I'm gonna translate what Tash Cloud said in like real English. Wah, I want more money. Natasha Heidemann made 700K. I want $1 million. Wah. I don't want to play for a contender for $1 million. Wah. Like, yeah, I can. I'll translate what Tash Cloud said. My favorite part about all this is, who Steward? What Steward is a part owner of the Seattle Storm. She is a part owner of a team. And not only that, she is a part owner of a team with a lot of cap space. A team who could have afforded to pay Natasha Cloud the maximum contract that she wanted. They said no. Instead, they gave Natasha Heidemann $700K a year and have $700K in cap space so they can eat a bad contract. They could have paid Natasha Cloud every cent of the max. Every cent of the max. Not only that, the Portland Fire believed that Bridget Carlton, 6.5 points per game, Bridget Carlton is more worthy of a max contract than taking her in the expansion draft. 15 teams said nah, for whatever reason. And again, some teams are tanking. Some teams don't have the cap space to afford what she wants. And basically, the amount of teams that want Natasha Cloud, that she wants to play for, and have the money to sign her, is zero. In terms of the Venn diagram, there's 0 teams in the middle of the Venn diagram. There are teams that she would play for. There are teams that want to sign her. And there are teams that can afford her. None of those are in the middle of a Venn diagram, which you need all 3 of those things to sign. And she was worth 200K, took advantage of it in the previous CBA. She's still worth 200K. She had a window this year, a 700K contract, got greedy. That's exactly it. She got greedy and somebody was going to be fucked over. Someone was going to be fucked over. And it didn't help that her options were lowered because she pissed off the owners. People being like she's being punished for being outspoken in everything in life. I'm sorry. I'm somebody that for years I made NBA 2K content. I have said the words fuck 2K. I've called it 2K for everything. It is not a bad look on 2K that they don't want to work with me. It's just not. It's just not. That is the way business works. If I have an entire Twitter account dedicated to hating AI and saying AI is a threat to humanity and all this stuff, and then I applied at a job at OpenAI and I didn't get the job, even if I was this incredible programmer, I didn't get the job because clearly I don't like AI and I've called out their company and I'm writing shit about the company. It's not a bad look on the company. And by the way, I don't care. Natasha Cloud can speak her own mind. It's not a bad look on her to speak her own mind. That being said, there are consequences. There are consequences to actions. There are consequences to pissing off people in everything in life. There is consequences to pissing off prospective employers. And that is what she is on. People are talking about this as the whole, this whole speaking out against Gaza. Or speaking out against Israel. Half the WNBA have done that. They don't care. Natasha Cloud is a headache and she's not good enough to be worth... She's a headache. She is good enough to be worth the headache on a cheap contract. She is not good enough. First of all, she's not good enough, period, to be on a max contract. And then when you take into account the fact that she is a headache for your organisation, you subtract at least 300 to 400K for the fact that she's a headache. And your PR team has to deal with the crap that she says, or the stuff she says. Whether you agree or disagree, it is controversial to a specific two groups of people. And then, look, if she was good enough at basketball, none of this would matter. She's not. She had statistically one of the worst seasons in the WNBA last year. Like, how you can be on a team as good as the Liberty and be as bad as she was, advanced stats wise, is unbelievable. And you've got a WNBA owner whose team would rather sit on cap space than sign Natasha Cloud, talking about how it's unfair she's being blackballed. You know what? Do something about it. because all the people on Twitter don't have the power to do something about it. I don't know if Sue Bird has the power to force Seattle to sign her, but as a part owner, she's a hell of a lot more power than us on Twitter and on YouTube do.